Hi, everyone. My name is Pierre Compère, and I'm delighted to be with you and to welcome you on this workshop dedicated to robotics contribution to field crops. I work for Agri Sud-Ouest Innovation, one of FIRA's partner. Agri Sud-Ouest Innovation is a cluster dedicated to innovation in the field of agriculture and food industry. We gather startups, SMEs, corporate firms, investors, research agencies, universities, as well as local authorities. And our job is to trigger business opportunities and support collaborative projects between our members, aiming all these projects and business opportunities, ag and food industries. So we'll talk about field crops, and we'll start with a presentation from EcoRobotix. Let's start with its business development manager, Claude Juriens from Switzerland. Claude, you will present EcoRobotix technology, an ultra-precise spraying system with a microdose and for an ultra-localized treatment on the crop for the application of a fungicide, for instance, or on weeds as well. Claude, the floor is yours. So you need... Claude, you with us? We can't hear you for now.
Can you hear me?
So feel free to... Yes, we're good. And we're listening to you.
Okay, perfect. So hello, everybody. Good evening. I hope you are fine, even though it's getting quite late or maybe very early for some of you. So this evening, I'm going to present you our solution to reduce significantly the quantity of phyto products sprayed on the fields, still maintaining a cost per hectare, which is equivalent or in several cases lower than conventional sprayers. I will show you reports made by third-party independent companies or institutes. So no changes or arrangements have been made by us for those presentations. They are just copy-paste, so just a pure truth. So we are based in Switzerland. We are active since about 6 years. We employ 35 people, and our specialty is very ultra-high precision weeding. That means that we are able to spray a pixel of 8 by 3 centimeters with a precision of plus minus 1 centimeters. So the main product we had so far this year is our AVO weeding robot. So it's a completely autonomous platform, solar and battery powered. It's also totally autonomous in the navigation using GPS, RTK, and visual odometry to find the row. It's a 4-wheel drive system, and we are embarking about 120 liters of water and chemical. So below the robot, you have a camera system, which is going to do the sensing. So we take several pictures per second. And then we have onboard computers, which are able, thanks to our AI algorithm, to recognize the good crop from the weeds. And then we also have the electronic to be able to really measure the moving of the robot, the direction, to be able to open a nozzle just on top of weeds, so that we are able to just touch the weeds and not the crop. So below the robot, you have a spray bar, 2 meter width with 1 nozzle every 4 centimeters. The throughput we have been able to reach with that robot is about 8 hectares per day on various crops. The crops we are currently able to spray with this system are the following. So at the moment in 2020 and ready to market in 2021, you have the sugar beet, RUMEX, rapeseed, and also beans. And we are working on the other crops, as you can see on the screens. So the idea is to have a complete portfolio of crops algorithm in the next 2 years with the 2 main market segments, broadacre and vegetables. So what do we promise? It's really the advantage of this very high precision spot spraying system. Depending on the weed density, we can reduce up to 95% the amount of herbicides, and that we're able also to measure on the field sometimes. The fact that we are not spraying on the crops, we allow less phytotoxicity of the selective product. So we have demonstrated higher yields. And of course, there is less residues into the crops. How does it work? So below the robot, we have per robot, so per 2 meter width, we have 2 vision box. In those vision box, you have the camera and the video processing cards, and also the electronic to control the spray boom. So the spray boom is 2 meter, and we have, as I said, 1 nozzle every 4 centimeters. That allows us to spray those 8 by 3 centimeters in the direction of the robot. The spray bar can be moved from 15 to 40 centimeters high. You can see here the picture exactly as one of the vision box or one of the camera is seeing. So it's a 1 square meter. So we are taking several pictures per second. And in blue, you can see hopefully the sugar beet in that case, and in red the weeds. So you can see that we are able to detect very small weeds, so the sub-centimeter weeds, that they are in between the row, but also very close to the sugar beets. Then when we spray, that's the spray pattern we have, this pixel of 8 by 3, and then we spray only the weed. So when it is a small weed, it's only 1 spray. And when it is a weed which is bigger, then we are open the various nozzles accordingly. And we can patch around the crop without touching if we want the crop. Let's go now to the result of the field test of 2020. And this is where I told you it's really copy-paste of third-party reports. So we are not hiding anything here. The first test we did was with the University of Switzerland, so the Agronomic School of Switzerland in Bern. We made tests in sugar beet, smart Bellamia, and we used the Conviso chemicals. And we had 3 modalities, modality 1, 2, and 3. On modality 1, it's a 1 plane application only, so with a normal sprayer as a comparison. The modality 2, we use, or they use a row application 1 time and 2 robot application. And on the modality 3, it's only 2 robot application. And the bar here are just at the various dates. So this is the last dates. And this is the amount of weed per square meter left after the various spraying. And here you can see that between the modality of a conventional sprayer and the modality with row plus 2 times the robot, we're able to spare 25% chemical. And between the 1 and the 3, it's 41% chemical. In terms of the efficiency, you can see that the second efficiency, we're using 2 times the robot plus row, is quite better than the normal sprayer. And even only with 2 robot application and 41% chemical reduction, we are even better than a normal sprayer application. I have to say, this was really the first test we did in April last year with the machine. So the painting of the robot was still wet, and we have improved dramatically also over the year, as you will see in the next slides. So this is the test result we did with KWS in Germany on the sugar beet, without going too much into the details. So you see that we were able to achieve more than 70% herbicide reduction, with reaching an efficiency of 71% weed reduction. This is a test that has been made by BASF Germany. A bit complicated to understand, but it's a very scientific approach. You have on those, this is just with the robot, and this is the normal sprayer. This is also with the robot, but with a kind of a total herbicides. And here you see that we were, after 1 spray, able to spare this amount of chemicals, and roughly 70
Claude, I think you're using your mouse pointer. but we can't see it. So you better use the colors if you want to explain the graphs.
Okay, thanks to say. So the where you see that the 82 and 73% represent the amount of chemical that we were able to save in comparison with the normal sprayer. Below, just at the bottom, you have a kind of gray bar, and so in the middle, this is really what we did with the robot, and you can see also the comparison. The gray bar represents the phytotoxicity on the plant, and you can see that between the robot and the normal sprayer, we have much less phytotoxicity.
Yes, it's quite impressive, actually.
Thanks. Then the same on rapeseed oil, where we were also able to have some good chemical reduction with a very similar efficiency in terms of the weed control and a little bit less phytotoxicity. Last but not least, test in the RUMEX. Here you see the RUMEX effect with a RUMEX total herbicides. And we were able also to achieve a lot of chemical reduction with a fantastic hit of 95% on the RUMEX, and without making damages on the rest of the fields. We have on our YouTube a video showing the result after 3 weeks after the treatment. You can, without any problem, go on to Robo and find that video. Some market feedback. Yeah, we validate that we are able to do spot spraying. We validate that we are able to spare chemicals. We also had many questions about uncertainty of the autonomous vehicle legislation. So many farmers were nervous about it. There is also a kind of uncertainty on the robot acceptation by farmers. So how quick it will be accepted. For sure, you have early adopters. So they are there. There is an interest. We had people coming to us and say, we want to buy immediately a product, for sure. But it's maybe more the questioning of the bulk of the farmer. That may take some time. It's difficult to judge, but that's our feeling. With the robots, to be honest, it's also a bit more challenging for us, at least, to demonstrate a very good return on investment. So we speak about 4 or 5 years at the moment, which is a bit high from our point of view. And we had many times the question, why don't you put your technology behind a tractor? For that reason, in parallel of the further development of our robotic platform, because we believe in it, we have started the development of a tractor version. So it's exactly what you have, you know, is the black toolbox you have below the robot is one of the elements of the tractor. So we multiply by 3 what we have below the robot. We had also the good surprise that we can go twice the speed. And now we have, and we launched it for the FIRA, we have a unit which is towed by the tractor called ARA, where we have a 6-meter system with exactly the same accuracy or precision like the robot, but towed by the tractor, and we can go up to 2 meters per second. And that allows us to reach the 4 hectares per hour. So depending on the number of hours you are working in a day, you can go up to 40 or 80 hectares per day.
So you're not dropping the idea of making a fully autonomous robot, but you decided as well to put your main expertise at the back of a tractor.
Absolutely, yeah. We are continuing to work on the robot. To be also honest, we have some additional work to terminate the navigation and also to really understand how the certification is going to go.
So the idea is to go quickly to the market through this module you can put at the back of a tractor, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and also there is also a financial or let's say a business case advantages. As I say, for us the cost of production is roughly the same between the robot and the unit you see on the screen, but we have 6 times the throughput. So you can guess that of course it is an offset offset a little bit by the fact that you have a tractor and a driver, but it's very interesting. So if I've skipped to that because the time is flying.
That's all right. Without going too much.
Okay, so without going too much into the details, if, for example, you have a purchasing group like a Kuma or a service provider, which is able to do in a year something like 200 hectare of sugar beet, 400 of RUMEX, and then 200 of rapeseed, with an end user price of roughly 80 or 90,000 euro and a small fee, small license fee per hectare, you can see that this is the return on investment, that even the second year is start to make profit. So this is for us very important to develop also a tool which allow the farmer to make to save costs, or eventually for a service provider to make money and share that money together with the farmer. And this is a bit more difficult to do that with the robot at this stage, but of course we are working on, and for sure we will also achieve something. We see for the robot, maybe we are gearing to use the robot certainly also with a very ultra high precision mechanical tool, where then the speed of the robot has makes a, because with a very with an ultra high precision mechanical tool, the speed you can achieve has to be a bit lower, otherwise you will create damage on the crop when you go very close. And then you have to go low speed. And then the robot, from my point of view, at least with our frame, makes sense. So we continue developing in both directions, the mechanical tool and the autonomous robot. I think I was speeding so that there is also enough time for question and answer.
Yes.
So thanks for your attention.
Yeah, actually, I have two questions for you. The first one is from me, actually. I said in the introduction that your technology was able to target not only the weed, but the plant, the crop itself, in order to spray, for instance, fungicide. Was I wrong saying that? Or can you parameter your robot or your unit behind the tractor in order it to spray whether the crop or the weed?
No, you are totally right, and thanks you. It's something I should have said, so you are a good salesman. You can work for us. Yes, absolutely. We can reverse the algorithm, or not the algorithm, the actuation. And in the case of having a very small plant, then it makes sense for insecticide or fungicide to spray only the crops itself, and then also to spare a fair amount of chemicals.
Okay, that's very clear. Thanks. Another question from an attendee. Does the sprayer know when a nozzle is plugged? And are you able to follow label rates of chemical and carrier quantities? I'm not sure to understand the word nozzle, to be honest, but I hope you can.
Nozzle, I understand. Yep. Yes, we... so in the first version, it is not automatized. So we can measure for a certain part of the bar if there is a problem, but not on each nozzle. And we are developing a possibility to control that with video cameras, which are at the back inside the cover of the sprayer. The second question, could you raise again the second question?
Are you able to follow label rates of chemical and carrier, CARRIER quantities?
Not sure to understand the question, sorry, but at least for sure what we are able to do is we are able to give the information of how much chemical we have put where, with a fair amount of accuracy, because we know exactly what we spray and where. So ultimately, we can give you a map, a heat map, where even per square meter, you can see how much we have sprayed. So indeed, also how much weed density you had.
Okay, and last questions for you. Maybe Chuck Barisic, who was the first with the first question, could ask you directly in your booth maybe later on. But last question for you, Claude, which kind of sensing modalities do you use for weed detection?
RGB cameras. RGB cameras with strong LED flashing. Yeah.
Okay, and we have many questions for you, for instance, about the advantage of your solution comparing to other smart spraying solution from John Deere or Blue River or Xarvio, Bosch, etc. But we'll save those questions for a bit later on, if that's okay with you. And if we have time, we'll get back to it, or you'll be able to speak with the guys on your booth. Thanks, Claude. Let's move on to 5-minute pitches from 3 robot manufacturers. And we'll start with Odd.Bot, with Martijn Lukaart, who's CEO of Odd.Bot from Netherlands. Hi, Martijn. So you're with us. Together, we'll talk about the Weed Whacker, which is a mechanical weeding robot for usage in sowing crops for arable farming. Martijn, the floor is yours.
Yes, that is correct. So maybe it's good to start with one of the last questions. So what's the difference between the solutions out there and our solution? Is indeed that we have a solution built for high density crops. So we have a robot that consists of a detection unit and the delta arm. And on the delta arm, we have a multi-tool which can push back in the very small weeds. And if we open the gripper, we can pull it or scoop out the larger weeds. Here you see, I hope it's visible and running, the detection algorithm. This was last year. We now put the camera, also an RGB camera, inside a black box with artificial lighting to always have the same kind of lighting conditions. And instead of using chemicals, we remove the weeds mechanically. Here you see a field of carrots here in Holland. And it's really about the weeds in the row. So we can remove the weeds, identify and remove the weeds in the row. And also what is different about our solution is that we can already identify the individual weeds. And with that, also trigger the type of weed removal tool. As we all know, this is the current method, full field spraying. And we learned that also the conventional farmers, they don't really like it. And they also see that things need to change. And the alternative is the manual weeding on these weeding beds. And it's very, very difficult to find people. We see that more recently with the COVID crisis, with farmers with the borders being closed, it was very hard to find staff to do this strenuous work. So the solution we came up with is the autonomous mechanical weeding robot. But this was the first proof of principle, and we focus now primarily on the detection and the removal. So also, this is also the video. Let's get that. So this is now the frame we're using. This was a converted weeding bed where we've put the 2 vision boxes. So we check the weeds and the crops. We do our action, and behind it there's a vision box again. So we can also check our own work, and with that we can continuously improve the detection. We have now patent pending on this 3-in-1 gripper tool. And we're now in the process to validate the market, so to speak. So we have a proof of concept. And in the coming spring, we're going to do our first paid pilots. And we're now looking for partners and opportunities. So that's also why we're here. Platform providers that we can work with. And also to offer our solution to our farmers, which we do in collaboration with Wageningen, and BioNext, the largest organic farming association here in the Netherlands, and also Rabobank, which is the preferred bank of the farmers. So yeah, please reach out to us. You can scan here my business card. So yeah, please reach out if you see an opportunity to collaborate. I only have 5 minutes, so maybe it's best to take some questions. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, we have actually one question. No, I don't think it's for you actually, but we'll save some time at the end of the presentation to have a chat with you. Thank you very much, Martijn. We'll move to Ben Scott Robinson, who's the CEO and co-founder of a small robot company, a startup born 3 years ago in the UK, and we'll keep on talking about per-plant farming in arable crops. Ben, you're with us, and the floor is yours.
Hello. My name is Ben Scott Robinson, and at the Small Robot Company, we have a mission to help farmers feed the world while regenerating the planet. Farmers of wheat, oats and barley are in trouble. The century-old system that they use to produce the world's biggest crops is getting more expensive, while yields and revenues are flatlined. It's also destroying crops, soils and ecosystems, and it's vulnerable to climate change. So what's needed is a system that's more precise and intelligent, that doesn't damage the soils, that produces more regenerative, organic quality food for less inputs. We say welcome to the fourth agricultural revolution. What's needed is a system, we are delivering farming by mapping, understanding and caring for the crop at a per plant level. And we believe in the next 20 years, that will be the only way to farm. So we'd like to introduce you to Tom, Dick and Harry. So Tom lives on the farm and gathers data on the plants and the environment. Tom is 180 kilos and covers 20 hectares a day, gathering 6 terabytes of data in the form of RGB and hyperspectral imagery, and from other clever sensors. Tom has been designed to clear a wheat crop of 1 meter high and applies less pressure on the ground than your foot. Tom is fully autonomous and capable of covering the field with no gaps. Tom's lightweight suspension and 4-wheel drive means that we can run in any conditions, on any soil, and in real bumpy fields. Tom can even run in zero-till wheat fields, through stubble and through cover crops. Tom can run across wheat plants that are spaced 10 centimetres apart until growth stage 31 without damaging, which means that he can run for 6 months without creating empty tram lines in the field. So Wilma automatically provides Tom with a route map and takes the data collected and processes it on the edge using neural networks. This gives a map of every crop plant and non-crop plant in the field to within a centimetre, a virtual twin of the field, if you like. Wilma works out which non-crop plants, need killing, and provides this in a web and app-based interface to farmers, and automatically creates a routing instructions and a control regime for Dick. So Dick, which I will show you in a second, video issues, nurtures and protects the crop. As 70% of pernicious arable weeds are resistant to chemicals, he kills weeds individually using electricity, using root waves battery-powered electric probes. Because electricity has to flow to the ground, Dick only needs to touch a plant for the whole thing, including the roots, to be killed. Because Dick does not compact the soil or break up the mechanical weeding, no carbon is emitted. This allows us to deliver autonomous regenerative farming, making zero-till farming organic and organic farming carbon positive. So let me just show you a video.
And don't be surprised, there won't be any sound.
Okay, sorry, cutting that short just because of the limited time. But that is our prototype Dick, which is 2 years old now, but still capable of killing weeds somewhere between 1 and 4 kilometers an hour, depending on the density of the weeds, giving us the potential coverage of 5 hectares a day. And Dick weighs less than 450 kilos. The new version of Dick is much faster, and we'll be launching that for the winter wheat crop next year. We've got a team that's built people from Dyson and JCB, IBM and Virgin Galactic to make sure that our technology is cutting edge, but also reliable. Harry is the final part of the service, who precisely plants the crop to exactly the right depth and spacing for the soil type and condition, giving it the highest chance of the highest yields. So we deliver this as a service to farmers so they don't have to pay up front, so they don't have any initial costs or any risk of obsolescence. My business partner is a farmer, and Sam has designed our service alongside farmers so they're completely engaged. We have nearly 200 farmers who have signed up and nearly 600 who've invested in us. We're delivering the first part of our service now in farms in the UK using Tom's per plant view of the wheat crop and weeds. And we're trialling it now, as you can see, on grassland and wheat fields, and we're rolling that out in October 21. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ben. We'll have a chat with Craig Livingstone just after the presentation. Just before giving the floor to Trevor from TerraClear, a quick question with the quick answers. Please, Ben, you explained us that your robot was using Vilma artificial intelligence, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. So the question is, how hungry is Vilma? How many terabytes of training data does she need to handle a new crop or farming operation?
Well, we actually do training on both the crop plants and the weeds, so that we can go into a field and detect the weeds, even if we don't know what the new crop plant is. But we really need a year to be able to see the full growth of the crop plant, so that we can pick up everything that's going on. That's not the amount of data that we require, that's just the time frame that it needs to happen. The RUMEX algorithm that we're using is actually quite low powered and low input, developed by a company called Cosmonio, and it's extremely capable in being able to detect weeds fast.
Okay, another quick question. So there are some possibility to implement custom model by the final user within your robot, or is it Vilma specific?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
The idea was, can we use a specific and like customized model, or is it all inclusive?
Oh, I see. As it stands at the moment, it's all inclusive. There's no reason we couldn't implement another model. Wilma is very flexible and extensible. It's built using Kubernetes on a containerized platform, so we can implement what we want within it. But at the moment, it is using our own custom model.
Okay, thank you very much, Ben. You have more questions, but you'll be able to get in touch with the guys that are asking it. Let's move on now to TerraClear, which with its president, Trevor Thompson. The company was born in Idaho, USA in 2017. And Trevor, you are going to present the Rock Picker, your autonomous rock picking robot with minimal operator intervention. So Trevor, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Pierre. So my name is Trevor Thompson and president of TerraClear. We are very excited to be here. So TerraClear is building a solution that automates rock removal in fields. Like Pierre said, we're based in the Pacific Northwest, so offices in Seattle, and then have a field office in Grangeville, Idaho, where we engage with a high number of farmers and get our equipment tested in the field on a regular basis. So we built the capacity to map a field of its rocks using AI and aerial imagery. And then we've got a tool that can pick those rocks with precision. So you use the map to go into the field, and then you've got this implement that interfaces with your existing equipment, a skid steer or a tractor, and allows you to pick the rocks with efficiency. So first, I'll spend a minute on the problem. So this is a recurring problem annually as rocks come to the surface in a couple ways. One is farming equipment, whether it's tillage equipment or even a no-till drill seeder. Other equipment actually grabs the rocks and can rip them to the surface. And then you get this perennial kind of upcrop of rocks from frost heave. So it's a process that occurs every winter where water pools underneath the buried rocks, expands during the freeze, and actually pushes the rocks up toward the surface. So many farmers are well familiar with this, that with limited topsoil, you're just going to get rocks growing every year. And this can damage equipment. It can cause significant downtime during those critical windows. And it can be difficult to remove these at scale. And so what you're seeing in the top picture there is really the state of the art for rock removal when you're trying to get minimal ground disturbance. And that's because the existing tools out there really sift through the ground and can cause quite a bit of disturbance. And so we really wanted to design something that allows us to, from the top down, grab the rock with a high degree of precision. So I'll show a little bit on the kind of final products, and then we'll show another silent video that we can talk through. So the first is, it starts with a drone. The drone takes pictures of the field, and similar to what Ben just outlined, uses deep learning. And that deep learning produces a map of those fields, telling you their size and location. And so you can just filter the rocks that you care about. So a common example might be rocks that are, 25 centimeters or 30 centimeters or 10 and 12 inches and larger, rocks that are really going to break your equipment. And so you can take a very large field, see that map, and then travel on an optimized route directly to that. And so as you see in the picture at the bottom, that's a skid steer with our picker. A farmer can have that tool in the form of a tablet or a digital map on his phone or tablet in the cab, and that allows him with GPS to go directly to those rocks. So the second part is the rock picker. So I'll show you a video in a second, and you'll see that the rock picks them from the top down, and it really allows for a wide range of picking conditions. So you can have very soft or very hard soil. You can have partially buried rocks even if you can pick traditionally, and if it's really stuck, you can actually have the bucket kind of dislodge the rock and pick them up. It works in high residue environments. It works in no-till environments, and it works in traditional kind of cultivated soil. It works for rocks that are from 10 to 15 centimeters or 4 to 6 inches on the small side up to 60 centimeters or even larger. And if it's too large, as you'll see, you can actually scoop the rock up with the bucket if you lift the picker. So with that, I would like to show the video.
We can't wait. Together. So I have now a question for you, Trevor. Looking at your video, I was wondering if, as Claude explained, it's not a fully autonomous robot you're presenting us, but more a autonomous unit that you can put on a tractor, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an implement that fits on a tractor or a skid steer. And so, and to be really clear too, is what you saw in the video, which might not have come through, is there's a manual version which allows you to use the joysticks in the cab, so the farmer can control the picker himself, or you can click into auto pick, which uses the computer vision, directs the picker where to go when it identifies the rocks and removes those. And so there's various levels of automation. Really, the idea is to get this tool in the hands of as many farmers as we can, and to down the road when we get to the fully autonomous platform, is to partner with another company, many of which are here at FIRA, that we could take our tool and put it on those platforms.
Thank you very much, Trevor. Are you done with your presentation?
I am, yeah. We'll be around, Trevor Thompson and Vivek Nayak, our VP of Engineering, will be around throughout FIRA, and look forward to answering any other questions. Thanks so much,
Don't move. That's all right. Don't move, because I have a question for you, and actually for Ben as well, and Martijn. I was wondering, how would be your reaction of on the vision that Claude explained on this competition between autonomous units and fully autonomous robots? The race between autonomous tractor, where you put on which you could put some autonomous unit or modules, and fully autonomous robots. Who's going to win the race, according to you? Trevor, to begin?
Well, I don't know that it's going to be one or the other. I think there's different tools for different applications. In our case, we know that rock picking is something that is seasonally for windows when there's a really critical need. And so to invent an entire vehicle probably puts the price point out of reach. And so we really want to bring a low-cost solution for something this specific. For many of the other causes where I think you have a more consistent use case and you're used to equipment that costs much more, I think that might make sense to have the fully autonomous integrated unit.
Okay, thanks, Martin. A short answer to this complicated question, maybe.
Yeah, our approach is really to first enhance the manual work, so make the manual work more valuable, and with that, yeah, we help to move towards the transition. So, also despite the really interesting engineering challenge, we don't plan to really replace the humans fully. So we really look into enhancing humans first in their work, make their work much more valuable.
Okay, thanks, Ben. What's your vision on this issue or topic?
I think that, what is a tractor? A tractor is a vehicle that can carry out a number of functions because it has booms or implements that are attached to it that can do a job. You make a tractor autonomous, you get rid of the need for the driver, you can bring down the weight, you can make it cheaper, and then it becomes a robot. Ultimately we have a monitoring robot which is separate because we need one on every farm and the units need to be cheap. But the doing robots that we're delivering to the farms, they will be multi-purpose. They need to be so that we can get the utilization up to deliver the service. Ultimately, I think that they become one and the same.
Okay, thank you very much, all guys. We'll have this conversation with the farmers as well. Please welcome now Conrad ARNZEN, farmer near Green Creek, Idaho, in the United States, and user of TerraClear rock picker. We have as well Craig Livingstone, a farmer from the UK, and Jamie Grant from Australia. And sorry, once again, Jamie, I know this is very early in the morning. It's very, but thanks to being with us. Conrad, we'll start with you. Could you present maybe your farming organization and express why you needed the rock picker?
Well, good morning here. I farm about 1,300 acres with my wife, and we got 2 little girls. And the main reason is the damage that the rocks can do to either a combine at harvest or my no-till drill, or I mean, just for example, I had a rock get stuck between 2 tires this year and it blew out a $500 tire. And so it's very important to make sure that those rocks are cleared from the field.
So you grow wheat, barley, garbanzo, beans, and hay. Is it?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, okay. Let's move on to Craig Livingstone. Craig, can you present as well your farming organization, your farm?
Yeah, good evening. Craig Livingstone from a farm down in Hampshire in south of England. So we farm 3,200 acres between 2 sites. We've worked with a small robot company now for 2 years, and yeah, we're growers of wheat, barley, pulses. We've got grass in the rotation, a 9-year rotation. Very much a move to a regenerative style of agriculture. So we looking forward to working with the robots.
And I think you are a small robot company user, aren't you?
We are, absolutely. Yeah, we've had them on the farm for the last year, but we've been working with them probably for the last 2. And we're part of a small group of farmers who are having them commercially on the farm. We're signed up as a business. I'm personally an investor as well, because I truly believe in what they're doing. And yeah, very much see them as the future. So excited to work with them going forward.
And what were your main motivation to get in touch with a robot manufacturer?
So I think looking at the challenges, so from trade, tariffs, Brexit, there we say it, from the UK, from Europe, climate, carbon, biodiversity, soil degradation, and also trying to run a small business as well. So we're asking lots of the people and labour. So I think we need to think smart about how we farm going forward. And I absolutely see robots working with us, not replacing us, but working with us.
We'll talk about that a bit later on. Let's move on to Jamie. So Jamie from Australia, what about you? What's your farming organization? How big is your farm, and what do you cultivate?
Yeah, we're a family farm. We're farming 2,000 acres of good black soil, and we grow rain-grown or dryland cotton. Can you hear me okay?
It's not so good, but apparently it's good for the others, so keep going.
So we grow dryland cotton every second year, and we grow cover crop of millet, French white millet in between, and just spray it out and let it collapse on the ground like mulch. And that's how we conserve our moisture to grow the next crop.
Okay. And do you use some robots?
Yeah, at the moment I've got one Swarm-Bot robot. I've got another one coming soon. So the one we've got now is I've had for 12 months, 15,000 hectares, because it's done multiple ones of our 2,000 hectares. And it's doing a pretty good job. Still a work in progress, but a very functional unit.
So you're working with a Swarm farm, aren't you?
Yes, that's right. They're a company that started from scratch and developed them on farm, which has probably sped their process up because they can test immediately and find all the problems.
Actually, that's a question I would like to ask to the three of you. How did you get in touch with the robot providers? And more interesting, how have you organized your relationship with them? Because I guess their robots weren't maybe 100 fully operational at the beginning of your collaboration. So what was your counterparts? Because you took some risks, you spent some time to help them design their robots. So what were your motivation to collaborate with them? Maybe Conrad to begin with.
I sat through a presentation given by one of Trevor's coworkers, and so that's how I kind of became familiar with it. And as far as the prototypes and all that going, I was just around version 13. I saw previous models, and they've come a long ways. And when it gets autonomous, I think that's really going to be, when it gets fully autonomous, that's when it's really going to be impressive and really reduce the labor.
So the risks for you were quite small. But what about you, Craig? When you start working with a small robot company, did you take some risks and big risks? And what were your motivations to collaborate with this young startup?
So we saw Ben's colleague Sam speak at a LEAF, which is Linking Environment and Farming event. We're a demonstration farm for that. So we've used a lot of those cultural practices to reduce inputs and things already. So we saw the robots as a tool to do the next 20 or 30 or 40%. So that was where we saw robots fit with us. The risk we took was, I almost saw it as a responsibility. I think as a youngish farmer, although I don't look it, we have a responsibility to work with this new technology going forward. So yeah, we're there to share some of that and develop it with them.
And what about you, Jamie? Did you take some big risks? What were the counterparts of collaborating with Swan Farm? Did you pay for the robot, or was it given free to you to test it, for instance?
Yeah, no, we've been paying right from the start, but the Swarm Farm got this up to commercial reality by testing themselves and contracting with them and giving them a real workout. But when they put it in the hands of commercial farmers, so many more ideas and problems and everything came up. So that's why I say it really is a work in progress, and that's when it really started to go places, when we actually got hold of them and made them work for a living.
Okay, so maybe transparency, I'm listening of what you're saying, and maybe transparency could be a key success factor for collaboration with between farmers and robot manufacturers. Would you agree on that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a two-way street, and they need our input, and we obviously need their input big time. We just rent these robots from them, so it's still their machine, so it's in their interest to keep everything updated and make it as good as possible, and it's good for me that I don't end up with a superseded hunk of junk, and so it's quite a good system.
I have a question for you guys, the farmers, from one of the attendee. What do the farmers consider being the main change in their practices after the uptake of the robots? Did it change the way they think to the agriculture? Is it the same job you're having, or is it a complete different job? And how did you actually organize labor around the robot? Who's going to be first? Maybe Craig this time?
Yeah, I would say it's the detail. It's the detail. So it's the reduction in the other parts of fields, perhaps that we don't need to treat. So, for instance, if we've got a grassweed issue in a small part of a big field, we'll deal with that robustly, but not have to go across everything else. That's our.
Okay. What about you, Conrad? We've understood that it was mainly a time and labor issue that led you to use the rock picker. Did it change the way you think your job, your being farmer?
Yeah, you know, going out and picking rocks is not a fun job, and it gives me the ability to do something that's far more important on the job. And so, yeah, it's the more robots are going to be integrated into the farm, it's definitely going to be a culture change. But yeah, it allows me to do something valuable with my time versus manual labor. And in a farm my size, I don't have the ability to go and hire a bunch of people to go out and pick rocks. And so this is something that definitely works good.
Yeah, sure. What about you, Jamie? What would be the main change of using robots, or due to the use of robots for you?
What we've got on our back of our robot is a weed selected sprayer, and we've had that technology now for a long time. But what it's allowing us to do is to use it slower and more continuously. So now we're spraying weeds proactively rather than reactively, like we've done under a normal system with big spray rigs. And it has made a huge difference to our weed populations and our resistance control.
Oh, that's very clear. One last question for you all guys. What would be the next step in regards of robotics in your point of view? What would you like to automatize on your farm? What would be the next step for you? Maybe Jamie?
Yeah, well, with the Swarm Farm platform, I mean, you can put whatever you like on it. It's just a platform with a category 2 3-point linkage, so you can add a mower, a planter, hopefully one day we get a microwave to zap weeds rather than spray them. Your imagination is probably a limitation because this completely autonomous platform it'll go wherever you want it to go.
Okay, what about you, Craig? What would be the main issue you'd like to see being solved by robots?
So I think would be the speed that they go across the field is on a bigger scale. Is to get them across slightly faster. The really lightweight footprint is perfect. So the speed, I think what would be really nice is some sort of recording platform. So the environmental goods that we're doing, something recording as the robots work, that we can evidence other things that are happening biodiversity-wise on the farm. But maybe that's down the line.
Let's ask the robots manufacturer. Maybe Ben. I can see you have a big smile on your face, so maybe you have something to say to us.
It's funny Craig was saying that. It is something that we've been looking very closely at to be able to pick up on biodiversity and health. So we are looking at a listening unit to be able to detect birdsong and different types of birdsong, so that we can recognise the benefit of that. And we are actually involved in a project with another agritech startup, sniffing the soil to detect the bacterial health of the soil, to see how well it's doing. So those are areas that we are very closely plugged into. So yeah, I fully agree with that. I think that for us, the really exciting thing is going to be delivering the weeding at scale, though. The step change in providing sort of precision non-chemical weeding and particularly being able to just target the weeds that need to be taken out just brings a whole new sort of dimension and moves us away from monocultures in field.
Thanks. What about you, Martijn from Odd.Bot? What could you do with the insights we gathered from the farmers here with us?
Yeah, it's very interesting to, of course, get their feedback and learn much more from what makes them tick. We also see that the farmers really would like to be in the loop and also always in control, of course, of the robot. We also we work close together with these farmers to learn from them. But this is very interesting to also see other applications indeed for this. If you have the self-driving platform in the field, to add all types of sensors for. Maybe we can add nutrients, maybe we can detect diseases, and there's so much more. This is really just indeed the start.
So sky is the limit. Maybe some reactions from Claude Juriens, the EcoRobotix. I have a specific question for you, actually, Claude. Are the data produced by your robots of any valuable or specific interest for the farmers or for other people downstream the food chain?
I mean, first of all, we are already today able to transmit that data to the cloud. So we can transmit all our pictures and also give maps or where the weeds are. The question is it really useful for the farmer? And you should rather ask the farmer. At the moment, it will take some time before the farmer can really get to use it. It will depend on the size of the farm. You know, in Central Europe, where you have a field of 10 hectares, the farmer knows where he has the problems. But it could be a different story in bigger fields. Maybe then just to come back to the biodiversity, what we could do for the biodiversity. With our system, we are able not only to understand what is a crop and what is the weed, but also what is the species of the weed. And there are some weeds that are very important for insects like bees, and we can avoid to spray them also. So that's something that we are developing, so kind of a bee-friendly type of weeding, where we don't spray, we spray not the crop, but also some of the weeds, like flowers.
Okay, so I guess that would be valuable from some qualifying supply chain, qualified supply chain with label and everything. So it would be interesting for food industries to know that solution exists, and they would be interested to get that in their needs or their expression of needs in their supply chain, I guess. Have you been in touch with some food industries downstream the food chain, or are you focused only on farming organization?
No, also to find the first clients. So the ones who have the money and also the time are those big companies or the big cooperatives. So yes, we have been working with in France particularly some very big cooperatives or food chain providers. Yes.
Okay, guys, we're about to close this session. Do anyone has a closing word for this session? One word to say goodbye to all the attendees. Do you believe in the future for robotics, for instance? I want to hear, yay!
Yay!
Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
Of course, for sure.
Okay, then so that will be the final word of this session. Thank you all. We've been more than 100 people listening your talks, so thank you very much. And you can have more chat with EcoRobotix on its booth. And for the others, I'll suggest you meet in the lounge meeting to be able to have more discussion. Thank you all, and see you tomorrow, hopefully. Bye-bye.
Thank you.